Hi there. I'm Shalece, a compulsive eater in Phoenix, Arizona. Today is uh, February 9th, 2021, and we are going to be talking today about steps 8 and 9. Um, if you'll visit 12stepitup.blogspot.com, you'll have access to all of the recordings that we have made previously in preparing to come to this step. We've talked all the way through steps 1 through 7. And so today we'll be doing steps 8 and 9. We'll go ahead and start with Lulu. And do you want to take 5 on it? And I'll time. All right, take 5.
Hi, I'm Lulu. I'm a compulsive overeater, and I've worked the steps in this program, and I have done steps 8 and 9. I have been in program and in recovery for 7 years. I've been abstinent for it's almost 7 years. It's been a delightful 7 years. It's been a delightful 7 years. When I stopped hurting myself with food and messing up my life. Okay, so basically 8 and 9 is what kind of a mess have you made and how about cleaning it up? And then you go forward and then you kind of keep things clean, and we never have those feelings that come up that we believe food will solve. And it's just, we just kind of get our heads screwed on right as best as possible. So so everybody that was on as I read my 5th step to my sponsor, everybody that was on my resentment list, every person, place, and institution and principle that was on my resentment list, the things that I resented in this life, she helped me see where I was selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, and afraid. Once that comes to light for me, it's not really fun information to have about yourself. We don't like to see it, but it's kind of important because when you see it, you get to do something about it. You get to look at it closer. Where have I caused harm? Have I caused harm? So she showed me how to differentiate if in fact I did harm. There's a lot of resentments that I had that I didn't cause any harm. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't have amends. It might not be direct amends. I wouldn't have to tell somebody I was sorry for something, but I could consider myself in this situation and how I would like to change. So I might, I'm just going to read you this list of, my sponsor said, go through each person, and you either will be doing verbal amends if necessary, whereby I would say to you, this is what I've done that was harmful and it was wrong and I'm sorry. I would either be maybe sending a letter, if a letter would be more appropriate, especially this day and age with the way that we all communicate now. Sending an email to somebody is not all that impersonal anymore. It used to be very impersonal, and like you'd want to do it in a letter instead and mail it, but like that's almost kind of strange today to do, to mail a letter, right? But you know something? I do suggest to my sponsees, well, no, that's for another day, talking about what I do with sponsees. My sponsor did not say, get a really pretty card and something on the front, like one of those blank cards that has something really nice that that the person receiving it would make them feel good, and write my note inside. That's not how it was said to me, but that's okay. I want to look at behavior changes. What in my behavior needs to change? Maybe an attitude adjustment. What in my attitude might need to change? This was, most of them was, how about if you stop minding your own business? That was, if I mind my own business, that's an amends to so many things, so many things. It's the way I can amend and repair certain relationships if I just stop minding my own business. And then there were graveside amends. Those were amends that were made to people that have passed on that were on my resentment list. And it's kind of really strange to think, because you would think that the amends I was making with somebody that was right in front of me, it would be so powerful. But I would say most of the most powerful amends that I've made were at the cemetery. And it's just an incredible process. And going forward in these recordings, we'll talk about each one and what that looks like and some examples. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful part of the step work. And that's what I have. Am I at 5 minutes? I must be.
You were spot on, Lulu. The
Yay!
timer was just about to ring. So
Oh,
wow, you got this down
ding-a-ling-a-ling.
to science, right? Now. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead
Okay.
and start the timer, and I'll share my experience as well. Okay, so I'm Shalece, compulsive eater, food addict from Phoenix, Arizona, and I have been in the program for 6.5 years and have had the opportunity to be guided and led through this work. And I think it's really interesting as I kind of look over the audience of the people that are sitting in this meeting today, and everyone. I know some people and I don't know others, but I love the fact that all of us are in a different spot in our journey. And it's so cool to just see that we're all here to assist and support each other. And I love that so much. And so I think it's funny because I kind of putting myself in a newcomer spot. If this were my first Step It Up meeting and I hadn't had any background of what was going on and why are we talking about, okay, isn't this program about food? Isn't this about like losing weight? Isn't this about like getting a healthy body? Yes, that's very, very minuscule part of it. But the most beautiful part about this program is that it's about basically a transformation from the inside out. And I've seen that happen in myself, that transformation, the physical transformation as a result of becoming abstinent and following a food plan. But I've also seen that spiritual and emotional transformation, and it's still happening in me, and it's happening in those others that are working this program. And so for me, the beautiful thing is that it's not just one of those things where you just weigh and pay, and you're like, no, this is like a life-changing thing. This is like it's about transformation and change in all areas and aspects of my life, especially in my relationships. And so my experience with step 8 made a list of all the people we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Wait, is that? Yes, that's that's. I just want to make sure I was quoting the right step, and yes, I was. But the easy part is that list has already been made. I made that list in step 4. So I was like, well, that was easy. All those people that were on my resentment list, as I went through step 5, we took a look at what my reactions were to each resentment, each fear. And it's interesting just to see the patterns that would come out. My defects were withdraw, judge, label, blame, are. These are my most popular ones. The repeat offenders: judge, label, blame, withdraw, avoid. So I'm kind of more of a person that keeps things in, rather than like, I'm not a yeller. I'm not a lecturer. But those are on the list as well. So my amends are going to look maybe different than someone else's that has different defects. It's not that mine are prettier or better. They're still defects. They're the same, and they cause harm to me and they cause harm to others. And like people pleasing. And so we had talked about the defects in our last recording, and asking God to remove those. And here was where we kind of start to also put those new assets into action. But recognizing where I've made that list with my sponsor, and in looking at harms, we can look at my defects and kind of get a good idea of how I acted in a negative way towards someone, or and so that's where it's kind of a, I guess, a simple process in deciding what needs to be done, like what action needs to be taken, just because I can look at how I reacted to the other person, how I reacted to the resentment, and my sponsor can help me kind of make a plan of action to make things right. And I know for me, a lot of it was just being present was an amends that I can make rather than withdraw. Um, I didn't have a lot of verbal amends that I needed to make, though I did make some beautiful ones. It was kind of interesting, like with I had one with a family member where I had not caused any harm to her, but I had spoken. Oh, my time's almost up here too. I had spoken with someone else about her and caused harm there. So that was where my amends was I needed to clean up this talking negatively or bad about this other person to the person that I had, gone and gossiped with. So that it was just an interesting, beautiful opportunity to see where I have acted not in the most beautiful or in ways that I'm not proud of, but to be able to have the opportunity to clean that up and have the guidance that I need to be able to make things right. So that's my experience with step 8. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Lulu for a 10 minutes. Go for it, Lulu.
Hi, that was great, Shalece. Yeah, you helped me see, like, yeah, you got to kind of look at those character defects, because it's the character defects that you found in 6 and 7 that you bring to 8 and 9. This is the the kind of the objectionable parts of my character that are my work for the long haul. Okay. And my go-to list, what did you call it? You didn't call it a go-to list. What'd you call it? What'd you call it?
Repeat offenders. I don't know.
My repeat offender list. Yeah. That was a good one. My repeat offender list is, I have it right here. Worrying about other people's opinions, judging people, comparing myself to others, perfectionist, control freak, high expectations of others, need for recognition, center of attention, self-centered, jealous / gossip, intolerant and impatient, avoid, withdraw, silence, scorn. So I had a whole slew of stuff too. So what is my life like if I'm not worried about what you're thinking? I'm not comparing myself to you. I'm not trying to make things perfect anymore. I'm not trying to control things anymore. I don't need to impress anybody, or I don't need attention. I don't need recognition. I'm more God-centered rather than self-centered. I don't feel jealous of people anymore. I'm happy for people now. I don't want to talk about people behind their back. I find myself more patient and tolerant, whether I'm in line at the grocery store or whether I'm having a conversation with you and I don't agree with you. Who am I? I'm a person that's truly living with the awareness of God. That's who I am. If I am able to take these qualities of me, it gives me what I need to work on. And the more I pray these away, which is what step 7 is, the more I pray these away, and see my wreckage, because that's basically what 8 and 9 is about, what step 9 is about. It's about my wreckage. Who has suffered as a result of me and these character objectionable characteristics. And then, as soon, it's amazing, like, to make amends to somebody. When you're working on step 1 and you're thinking about step 9, don't do that. That's my advice. Don't do that because it will just seem so insurmountable and like impossible. If anyone ever told me that I would be going to my husband, my ex-husband, I mean, in absolute pure joy to make an amends to him to own my side of the street, I would have said, there is just no way, no way, you know? Um, and then to be in a space because of what you've done in step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7, that when I'm at this point now with all that experience behind me, all that recovery, all these meetings, so many abstinent days, I'm not hurting myself with food anymore. I've discovered these character defects. I get to make things right. You want to do it. You can't wait to do it. As it says in the big book, where it talks about the big grandiose promises of this program, if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we'll be amazed before we're halfway through. So what is the phase of our development that they're talking about in that paragraph? The phase is step 9. That's the part of the book. It's in step 9. If I am painstaking about my step 9, I will be amazed before I'm halfway through. Halfway through with what? Halfway through with amends. Whenever I heard this read, I always thought, I'll be amazed before I'm halfway through. I thought it meant when I was halfway through losing my weight, you know, then I'm going to be just amazed. I don't need to be a goal weight, just no, it's like, look what it says, you know, I'm going to know a new freedom and a new happiness when I'm halfway through with my amends. I will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. I'm not even going to look back and say, wow, what a jerk I was. Oh my gosh, these poor people, I'm embarrassed. No, I don't regret the past and nor wish to shut the door on it because I have the opportunity to share it, which can help other people. I will know serenity and I will comprehend the word serenity and I will know peace. Like, how do you even comprehend serenity when you got this as a character and you got food as your solution and I'm mixing drinks and I'm lighting up cigarettes and I'm opening bags of chips and I'm going to the bakery again. It's like a shit show, you know. It's like how do I even know what serenity and peace even looks like? You know, the self-pity disappear. I mean, you can see that's on page 83, 84. You know, I'll lose interest in selfish things. Self-seeking slips away. Fear of economic insecurity will leave me. I mean, the list goes on. And those grandiose promises do come true in step 9. In step 9. So when I did my amends, I made my lists and I put the list of people under each category. These are the letters I need to write to the people for my graveyard amends. These are the people I need to do verbal amends to. There were 4. This is the attitude and behavior change. I have each person and what I need to do to what do I need to adjust about the way I think about this person so that I can kind of let them off the hook, let them be who they are, and then I get peace and serenity. See, it's like we're not letting people off the hook when they should be paying some kind of price. Whatever price they need to pay in life is between them and God, and whatever I do for me is between me and God. So I had all kinds of different attitude adjustments, like maybe I can be more thoughtful and less judging of this particular person. This person I need to mind my own business came up a lot. And that took practice. Like I didn't just all of a sudden say, oh, I can see there's my amends. I need to mind my own business here, 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 and here. And then all of a sudden I go out and just mind my own business. Nah, that's not what it looks like. That's why we have step 10. But that's for another day. That helps us when stuff crops up. And it will every day for the rest of my life because I'm human. God doesn't want me to be so holy that I'm not human. And I heard that once and it really resonated with me because I was just like, yeah, you know, if perfect is where I aim, it's just a place to aim. It's not a destination of this. It's just imagined. It's not even, I'm not going to get there. But if I'm always kind of heading in that direction of like God, that's what I think is perfection, is God. And then I just feel, well, what do I need to um, live? That was one of my character defects I wrote, not truly living with the awareness of God. That was, I just had things misconstrued. I had things misconstrued. Back on another page in this big book, several pages before this, it says, when our spiritual malady is overcome, we will straighten out physically and mentally. I've always had it in the wrong order. I knew if I straightened up physically, if I just got thin, my head would be fine. I did it many times. My head was never fine. Never. It was never fine. I was just, the minute I hit goal, I was back on my way up again. Yeah, let's see. I just lost my train of thought. I didn't know I had a spiritual malady. I didn't know. So that's why I never took care of it, because I just didn't know. And you know what I love is today I don't know too. There's a lot I don't know. There's so much I don't know. And I'm so grateful that God's good earth is just inexhaustible with discoveries. It just never ends. And that's why a higher power is the solution to this, to my problem of powerlessness. Is I just needed power. And I needed the humility to welcome this information that was presented to me through this step work of what the things that were objectionable about me. And then I got the opportunity to clean it up. And I'll just say, I'll end with one more thing. My sponsor had me sit down and write my gifts, where I had had this list of character defects. It's kind of like you. And she said, what are some really good qualities? And I thought, well, it was kind of hard. It was kind of hard because I felt like I was like, oh, I'm great. I'm this, I'm fabulous, And she's just like, just find your qualities. And I found a little short list that I really felt was the qualities that I bring. And we all have different qualities. We all have different qualities. We all have different character defects. We all have different things to work on. But I just listed my gifts as that I was gifted with common sense and logic. I have a good sense of humor. I have a positive attitude. I'm very organized and responsible. I'm a good mother, and I'm a generous soul. And that doesn't feel like bragging today. It's just what I found to be my strengths that God has given me to go about and do God's bidding. I can take all this with me, and for the sake of others, because like it says in the big book, top of page 77, my favorite sentence, my real purpose is to fit myself to be of maximum service to God and those people about me. And where I stay fit is to see my character defects and work on them, straighten out my past, which is what step 9 is, and see my gifts and use them to help other people, not to show off or be fabulous. It's just to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Lulu. I'm just going to start a timer here. Okay. So just thinking back at and just looking at the wording of step 8, I really love the wording in the steps because there's a lot to them. I love that it talks about becoming willing to make amends to them all. Like, we made a list of people we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. It's not like we made a list of people we had harmed and we were just ready to make amends to them all. It's a process, like that becoming willing, and that shows up back in step 2 in a way. It's came to believe in a power greater than myself. So I love the fact that it's just like it wasn't just we believed, it was we came to believe. So the wording in these steps really helps me see that it's a process, and it takes some time to get there. And I got time. I got time. And I'm so grateful that I have time, that God's given me time. Um, and just as far as the becoming willing, because I know as Lulu was saying, like if someone was like, okay, now make a list. If I was making my step 4 list, because my step 4 was all the people and places and things that had done me wrong. If I had made that list and they're like, okay, now you're going to go make amends to all these people, I'd be like, you're insane. They look at what they've done to me. What are you even talking about? But the becoming part happened for me in step 5, where step 5, 6, and 7, where I was able to discuss each one of my resentments, unravel it, get to the truth, and then see where my defects had come into play. And then after that whole process of cleaning out the cupboards, like then I was ready. Then I'm ready. And it's not a chore. It's like you're ready. You're so excited. Like Lulu said, you're just so excited to make this amends because I see where I need where I've harmed someone, and it's a joy to share that, I guess, if that makes sense. Um, and then okay, so just thinking about step 9 and made direct amends wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Thank heavens for sponsors here, because I need direction and guidance on seeing where an amends I would think I would need to make, could possibly cause harm, and making sure that my amends that I'm making isn't to make me feel better, because it's not about me here. Like this part here is about cleaning up and really admitting to what I've done, and uh, it's not about making me feel better, because before I'd apologize, oh, I'm so sorry, uh, I mean, it was always about to make me feel better. I didn't really ever consider another person when I was making or apologizing before. And man, I'm really good at apologizing. I over apologize for things. And so actually part of my process and seeing part of my defects, or working with God and asking him to remove those, has helped me to see where I've actually done harm and where I haven't, because I jump to thinking that I've done harm where I haven't. That's just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, but I do. And I automatically think that things are my fault a lot of times. It's just funny. We're all different. I do a lot of self blame, and that's detrimental to me too. So I love the fact that I've got a guide that can help me see what's mine and what's not mine, and decide whether this isn't whether I have an amends that is appropriate to make, or whether it's just a mind your own business one, which I have plenty of those as well, or just a you know just acknowledging what has happened and just seeing it for what it is and moving forward. And just yeah, it's such a beautiful process. And for me, um, it, for all of us, like it's just a continuing process. And I love, just this morning I was speaking with my sponsor, and she helped me to see that um, that I don't need to belabor the resentments that come, or like make them bigger than they are. She gave me an analogy of cleaning off crumbs off a cupboard. If you walk into a kitchen and you see crumbs on a cupboard, you can take a dishcloth and just wipe it off, instead of just trying to clean the entire kitchen, like washing off all the cupboards, and blowing things, making things bigger than they are. I'm just grateful for that as well. Just seeing that I don't have to figure this out on my own. I don't have to figure this out on my own. I can touch base with others who can see things more clearly when they're not in it. That was, I think, the best thing for me, was to just working with somebody that doesn't know me, that doesn't know the people on my list, that doesn't know just totally objective view. She doesn't have an opinion. She doesn't have a judgment on any of these people. She doesn't know them. All she has is a view of looking for reality and looking for and helping me to get to the truth, which is where the peace lies here, is in the truth. That's pretty much what I've got on steps 8 and 9. Lulu, did you have anything else you wanted to add to that before we open things up for questions?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, you and I are just a really great yin and yang, in this program. We both have this passion. We have this passion. We each have a list of character defects that look really different. Like she might be blaming herself for everything, and I blamed everybody else for everything. So it's just like, she is a very gentle woman. I'm like a friggin' bulldozer everywhere I go, right? So I'm like, she's silently scorning and I'm yelling at everyone, And but bottom line is, it's equally destructive to ourselves. I might be making more wreckage with people because of I just, vomit my thoughts, okay? So I might have more wreckage to clean up, but basically, in our soul with God, we're kind of destroying ourselves in different ways, and we just want to change that stuff. We just want to change that stuff so that we can just be in this world in peace. And my peaceful mind comes from working on my character defects and making my amends. And I still need to make amends today, 7 years in. I don't think I'll ever stop. I'm human, and I'll say something and I'll be like, ooh, I just know I shouldn't have said that, and I'll just kind of sit with it. And then I'll think, like, was it really harmful? I want to really think about the harm. Like if I thought I was that person and they would say, that felt very harmful because I felt like you insulted me and you degraded my abilities. I would imagine it. I don't know how people feel, but I would know if what I said was wrong, because chances are it would come up with a step 10, and then it would come up with a suggestion from my sponsor, and then I would write an amends and run it by her, because amends are so precious and so delicate, and we don't want to be harming anybody with them. And then she'll be like, you wrote this? Like, you think this is okay? Like, what about this one line? Don't you think that? And I'll be like, ooh, missed that. And so I'm still on the train. I'm still on the choo-choo, It's like I'm not going anywhere. And I love being here. And I love that this work is never done, because if I was finished, where would I go? Where would I go when I have this wonderful community that gives me inexhaustible goals, ambitions, ways to direct my life. It's inexhaustible. And, there's nowhere to arrive. There's no Ithaca. It's the journey. If you haven't listened to Ithaca, go on to 12stepitup.blogspot.com. On the very first tab, Getting Started, it's just a poem that just explains that, about, really enjoy this journey. And this amends process is quite a journey. And that's what I have. If anybody has any questions about amends, you can throw them up in the comments section. We're going to, going forward, we'll go through different guidelines and different things you want to kind of think about while you're writing an amends. And I have lots of examples I can share of different ones. Like I said, I have wreckage. I have wreckage, so I've made amends, and I've done all kinds. So I do have. I'm not like, this isn't like a badge of honor. Trust me. It wasn't pretty. But I just do have examples that I think would be helpful, and we'll do that as we go forward in the recordings for the next 3 Tuesdays, right? The next 3 Tuesdays. Yep.
Correct.
And we'll go through it, and we'll just talk more about amends. that what we got? Does
Yeah.
anybody have any questions? Oh, that's a very good question, Anne Marie. How do you
Very good.
how do you manage your expectations for a response? Do you want to take that, or do you want me to?
I can give my thoughts about it, and then would love to pass it over. That's actually a really good question, because when we're going into it, you know, we're going and we're going to be super duper prepared with what we're going to be making amends for. We want to make sure that it's very clean, that we're not giving any excuses for our behaviors or any of those things. And like Lulu said, there'll be guidelines that we'll share in the next couple of Tuesdays that will cover all of that. But as far as like expecting a response, who knows? I have no control over how anyone's going to take my amends. So I don't, when I go into making an amends, I really try to stay just in the present moment and not make things up about how the person's going to respond, or really just leaving that part to God, and realizing that my amends is my business between me and God, and I'm going to take care of business. And the way that other people respond is their business between them and God. You may get all sorts of responses. You may get loving responses. You may get, I never want to talk to you again. Or you may get people that don't even want to talk to you, to allow you to make them. You know, I say expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected with your amends. Lulu, you want to take it?
Sure. The way that it was presented to me is that it's not important to my recovery on what the response is. So if somebody says, if I say, because what does it say? It says, and that you're willing to make amends to them all. You're willing. So right now I'm willing. I have an amends to prepare. I contact someone and say, I'd like to talk to you about something. And if they say what, I'll just say, I just have something I want to talk to you about. I've just been kind of thinking about my past, and it's just something I want to clean up between us. And if they say, no, I'm not interested. I mean, I can't make somebody do it. So basically, I knew I had the willingness. It needs to now be between me and God, and I need to free myself of this. I made an amends to my ex-husband through a letter, and he did reply with an absolutely wonderful response 8 months later. 8 months. So, you know, procrastination with him was on my resentment list. But just saying. But that's him. That's just him and his stuff, right? So I did get it. So what was I going to do for those 8 months? Feel like I had unfinished business? No, I didn't feel like I had unfinished business. I made my amends. I owned my side of the street. I didn't even know there was anything on my side of the street. I had no idea. So there you have it. I spent those 8 months feeling like I made my amends to him. I don't know whether he thought it was great or whether, I had no idea until 8 months later. People, a lot of people are uncomfortable hearing amends, and they'll say, "Oh no, that's fine. That was nothing. I'm good," you know. And what I'd likely say in that situation was, no, it really wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. It was wrong, and I'm here to say I'm sorry. It wasn't okay. I don't believe them, because if I picked that whole thing apart with a fine-tooth comb with my sponsor, and I don't want to find a harm's done. Trust me, I don't want to find it. I want to find that it's okay. It was okay, because I don't want to. I don't think that I harm people. But if I brought it to there, like somebody just asked, how do you know you're ready to make an amends? It's when you know you've caused harm. And that takes steps 1 through 7. That's when you know. So if I'm ready to make an amends, it's because I know I've caused harm. And if I'm presenting it to you, I can see how some people would be uncomfortable with that. and they'll just say, no, it's okay. But I just say, no, it's not okay. That's why I'm here, telling you it was wrong, and I'm sorry. And uh, um, when you have that full awareness that you have caused harm to somebody, um, and that can look like all kinds of things. We'll talk about those. It's like it was the most amazing part of this process, which is why all the promises of the program are right in that paragraph, right in with step 9, steps 8 and 9. And somebody asked if we have a simple form for amends. I don't have a form. I don't use forms in any of my step work, and I know people do. And if it works for you, that's amazing. But I don't use a form. But we do have guidelines. I have things that they're guidelines of things that have been given, ideas that have been given to me by my first sponsor, which was in AA. My current sponsor in OA, who has 30 years of big book, abstinence and recovery. She got abstinent when she was 20. Imagine that. I think about, I got abstinent when I was 55, and that was just my time. And that's when I saw things differently. But I take things from podcasts that I hear. I see harms done that injured somebody, and then you say, oh, you don't do that. I can see what was wrong with that one, because it says in step 9, make amends to anyone that I have harmed, unless when to do so would injure them or others. I don't want to harm somebody with my amends just so I can feel better. So I've learned from that. It's like, oh, this is how delicate they are. I've just harmed somebody by making an amends to them. Like kind of like telling somebody that something they don't already know. Not a good idea. Oh, just so you know, I'm really sorry. I've been talking about you behind your back for the last 10 years. I really sorry. I shouldn't have done that. Really? You've been talking behind my back? Now you've just harmed them, right? Those kind of things, I just take to God. I just take to God. That's like, I need to change that behavior. I'm not going to talk about people behind. I just make an amends to the universe, but stop doing that. I don't want to go to somebody and say, oh, I'm really sorry I had an affair with your husband. It was wrong of me. I shouldn't really be sleeping with other people's husbands. I mean, that would be harmful, just so I can feel like I've relieved my guilt. So yeah, so that's how the guidelines that I have come up with in my little thingy that we'll share on here are not the guidelines of the universe. They're not Bill Wilson's guidelines, although they do all come back to what he suggests in that little teeny simple step, the way it's written, like Shalece was saying. Every word in those steps are selected very, very carefully. That was good to point that out. You got to pay attention. We read them at meetings and you hear them at every meeting, and they just your eyes glaze over. You're not really kind of paying attention. But if you really listen to every one of those words, it's miraculously organized. It's miraculously organized. And so these guidelines come from experience, my own experience, the experience of people that have gone before me. And it's a bunch of really, really, really good advice, in my opinion. It's advice that I take. So I like to share it. So we'll share that as we go along in the step. And that's about all I got. What about you?
Yeah, I was just going to say in response to Diana too, like just, and for anybody, like, I'm so grateful for the guidance in knowing when I need to make an amends, and when I get to the amends, for it being very simple. It's like the most simple thing that happened. Like, I was wrong. This is what I did. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. That's it. There's no, oh, I'm sorry, I was in the food back then, and oh, I was really in a bad place, or I really thought this about you, and so that made me, and I was just really reacting to what you did, and no, it's all, this is what I did, I was wrong and I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
how beautiful and simple is that? And it just leaves, there's no, it's just cut and dried. Like, I love that. Like, and when the words, when you've worked it with your sponsor to where it's, you've got it to where you know what you've done, you know what was wrong about it, and you actually really are sorry about it. You're not just making it up. You're not just saying it to make yourself feel better. You actually really do feel sorry about it. It's beautiful. And it's really, the amends part of it isn't scary at all when you get to that point, because all of the fear has gone away with the lies. I think, don't you think, Lulu? Like, when that fear's not there about like them anymore. I mean, it's just stripped down to, there's nothing left but love, really, when you get
Right.
to that point.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, if I've been resenting you for your opinion about something and you've been arguing with me for years about it, and I resent you because you just keep thinking that way and you keep doing that and you keep believing that. And it's just like, when I learn the truth and say, everybody kind of gets to be whoever they are. Like, if, and also you see yourself in things, this person's trying to manipulate the way that I think. Well, if I have an opposing view, am I doing the same thing? So how about if I, but where have I harmed her? I don't know. Maybe I haven't. Maybe I've just been engaging in some conflict. I don't have to find where I was wrong. But if I said, maybe if I called her some names, I wasn't very kind, I talked about her behind her back or whatever, and she found out, because we wouldn't tell anybody something they don't know, I might have amends to make. And it's like Shalece said, one of the guidelines is no excuses. It's not this, I was just telling you how I was feeling and that's all I was doing. And I realize now that I said it, I was yelling, but I was just doing, I was drinking, I was drunk. Nope, no excuses. I was fat. I felt awful about myself. No wonder why I treated you like this. Nope. I treated you like Shalece said, treated you like this. It was wrong and I'm sorry. Yeah, when you keep it simple, it's very pure and very, like you said, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. But we have lots more to
Yeah,
share
this
on
is going to
this.
be a fun month. We're going to have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have all sorts of, and I'm going to have to agree with you. I think one of the most beautiful amends that I made was to my grandparents who had passed away already. And one of the most beautiful, I would say those would be the most memorable amends that I made. And yeah, can't wait to share some more examples and experiences. Yeah. So we're going to like cliffhanger you here, right? We're going to leave a cliffhanger. This is a cliffhanger. You'll want to come back for more to find out, ooh, what were the amends they made? And, oh, how did they make them? What'd they say? What were the responses? Haha, you can't know until next time.
We're going to keep you coming back for more, baby. Like a YouTube channel. Jeez. Oh, God, this is silly. Very good. Very good. Thank you, everybody that came to just, it's funny because we could just make these recordings without anybody here, but having people here is
just way more fun.
Just gives it a nice energy. Yep.
Yeah.
And, but this is all going to be on our blog. So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So